Well, hello, gorgeous. It's DannyDealz here. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. I would like to speak with you today about Unity Biotechnology Inc., ticker symbol UBX. This stock has been on a little bit of a wild ride the last couple of days. Really not a hell of a lot of news coming out, but Wedbush, of course, Andreas Argarides, I don't know how you say that. Argarides, he's downgraded the stock from $3 to $2 and from a buy to a hold. Now, I don't really trust Wedbush at all. They've made a lot of very suspect downgrades lately that seem to be timed with you know, attacks on the stock. There's several of those I could point to, but I don't really want to get into that. Um, on the day, guys, Unity is down 19 cents or 6%. The stock actually was down to $2.76 after opening at $3.11. It just sold off hard, found a little support at 295 and then just fell off a cliff all the way down to 276. Recovered quickly to the $2.90 level and then had stepped up just shy of $3, was trading at $2.98 from basically from 1 p.m. out to 2 p.m. And you guys see these algos trade in blocks of time and blocks of money, then stepped it back down to 293, where it's basically holding cents. Volume has been pretty heavy, guys. This is a stock that volume can just completely fall out of the stock today. 607,000 shares traded, which I know is only, less than $2 million worth of churn, but that is actually quite a bit for this stock, guys. It often trades just a couple 100,000 shares. You can see the average volume is only 335,000. Okay, so Andreas downgrades. He's put buy ratings on the stock. Um, he actually issued a buy back in, reiterated his buy at $13 last year, and he's put buy ratings on the stock all along. Even after the wet AMD data and the stock fell all the way down, he reiterated his buy after that. Reiterated again at 287 just recently. And then, so downgrades now when the stock passes $3 to a hold, downgrades the price target to $2. His rationale in doing so was the limited cash runway, limited other options outside of UBX 1325 in the pipeline. Not to say those are not valid criticisms. However, I think it really discounts the impact of the DME data, that 48-week data and the phase 2B trial they're going into. I don't think it's going to be impossible for this company to raise money on fairly decent terms. I don't think it's going to be impossible for them to take on a partner. I think they are a very possible buyout candidate when you look at the size of the DME market and how quickly it's growing. And then you look at their 48-week data. I mean, I don't think this is an extremely high risk drug anymore. I know it's basically been proven safe, and so we're trying to decide, how effective is it. We know it's somewhat effective, at least at this point, on DME. It also has positive biological effect on AMD, wet AMD. This compound clearly has something. It's totally new, it's totally novel, it's got a special sauce. And Wedbush is saying basically, okay, we're gonna take the current market cap of 42 million and that should be cut down essentially by a third. So, the company should be worth under $30 million. Now, if their drugs had not even gone, this drug, UBX 1325, was like still stuck in phase one. But the phase two data on DME looked extremely good, and it's looked really good all the way down the pipe. And if you look at what these DME drugs sell, the anti VEGF therapies like Eylea, Regeneron, Aflibercept. I forget all the names, trade names, and companies that. But these drugs sell billions of dollars just in the United States. So I think it is just, basically you're kind of splitting hairs here. Is a company worth 30 million? Is it worth 40 million? Is it worth 50 million? Is it worth 10 million? The real question is, can they, effectively manage their money, manage their debt, manage their financing burdens to get them well into this phase 2B trial and get to readout? A lot of people were freaking out and thinking, the fact that they're doing a phase 2B, and it's going to take, 18 months or so to get the readout on 24-week data. I personally think it could go a little bit faster than that. There's a lot of patients out there they can enroll, and they don't need that many patients for this trial. So, a lot of it depends on the money, how fast you can go, because if you can burn a little bit more money, you can do trials faster, you can enroll patients faster, you can have more sites. If you're on a very limited budget and you're really trying to watch every penny, you have to do less sites, you have to go less fast, and it just takes more time to enroll the patients because you're not spending as much on the trial itself. So that just makes sense, guys. You're basically doing it on a shoestring budget. Um, so the criticisms basically, yes, UBX doesn't have anything else in trials. Um, that's a valid criticism, but I think you have to look at the likelihood that UBX 1325 is actually going to get approved and get to market for DME. And I think that likelihood is quite high, at least 50-50, at least 50-50. And then if it gets there and it gets through, phase 3 trial and gets to market, this drug is going to be worth a tremendous amount of money. It could be used in combination with VEGF, and so you have both effects going on. They're not like mutually exclusive. Like, I don't think they're going to conflict with each other. I think you could use them in concert effectively. Of course, dosing, timing, all that stuff would need to be determined. But where's the upside? Where's the downside on this baby? It was running up in the fives before the wet AMD thing, came all the way up past 550, kind of settled in to the fours, and then, of course, fell off a cliff all the way down below $1.50, marched, back up to 350. Met with some resistance there, which has been resistance previously, and then, pushed it back down to the three area. What can we expect to happen after this, guys? The cash runway issue, yes, it's an issue. I think they only have like 25 million or something. But their burn rate is fairly slow. It's not as if they're going to run out of money eminently. They also have a pre-approved, pre-authorized facility with a company to sell shares at market value. So they have facility in place to raise money. Yes, it does involve dilution. But at this point, guys, this is the name of the game, is getting this thing moving forward and getting to market. Like, a little bit of dilution, you really shouldn't worry about on a $40 million market cap on a drug with billions of dollars in potential, I believe. And guys, I know that sounds crazy, but look at the market for DME. I mean, it's a massive market. It's already like 4 or 5 billion, and it's getting bigger and bigger every single year. These age-related diseases are not going away, guys. The baby boomers, they are going to get old and live long, and these eye diseases are going to be an even bigger issue than they've been in the past, and it's already a huge issue. So what's going to happen here, guys? Note that when the stock came down here, okay, we stop about the $2.92 range where we currently are. Of course, the tail came all the way down to like 276. Where is 276? This is exactly this level. You see the stock kind of traded between 510 and 517, really hugged that level, came back out, came back down and tested it again at a 272, and then it bottomed out right in that region again. So we're seeing buyers of the stock at that 272 275 level. We saw some buyers coming into the stock at that sort of 318 level and above that. So, my sense is that the stock is going to push back up and regain this trend line. I feel like, there's a little bit of attacking, probably some shorting going on based on that downgrade. I'd have to check, guys. I don't plan this stuff and check for evidence in advance. That's kind of interesting. In 3 months, the estimated short interest has decreased while the free float on loan has slightly increased. But let's take a look at the live short interest. So yeah, guys, return shares 23K, borrowed shares 29K. So just net borrowed change, 6,000 shares, which doesn't sound significant, but that is an actual fairly decent percentage of the shares traded, at least like 1% of the churn, which is fairly significant. In terms of like the last week, if we take a look at it, the shorts basically been pretty much flat, actually decreased slightly. So looks like some people were covering a little bit this week. Cost to borrow, what's going on with cost to borrow? That can kind of tell. Cost to borrow is very low. Utilization has actually gone down 25% in the last 7 days. So, if this is shorting, guys, I'm not seeing it show up in any big way. I guess, people are just impatient. People realize this is going to be a long haul. So it looks to be a little bit of, selling in the low threes and then maybe buying in the high twos. So, looks to be like the stock might be forming a little bit of a short-term channel here in like 270 to 350, and hugging the low end of that range at this time. Guys, what are your thoughts on UBX? Are you willing to hold this thing through phase two? Do you think they could actually start a phase three trial simultaneous to a phase 2B? Because they've already gone through the phase two. I think, they have to be in discussions with the FDA about a phase three trial or perhaps a phase two trial. In combination with a VEGF therapy for wet AMD. They're talking about perhaps doing a combination study also for DME. What do you think the timeline is on an actual P3 trial for DME? What do you think that would look like? When do you think this drug can actually get to market? What do you think the market will be when they actually get there? Guys, there's just not a lot of news on the stock other than the downgrade. Um, I guess looks like some directors bought some stock, but I think it was just some options grants or something, some nonsense. Seeking Alpha, of course, doesn't like the stock. Valuation B minus, growth C plus. So they're kind of neutral on the stock. But guys, this one's going to be a long haul, but it could be very dramatic in terms of the revenues it could generate if it gets there. Certainly not going to be a short-term trade. Note we had great 48-week data, but there's basically nothing going on in terms of trials right now. I don't even think there's any follow-on studies. I think basically the 48-week wrapped it up, and we have to wait for this phase 2B trial, and hopefully they will start dosing patients by the end of this year. And this will be very interesting because we'll finally see what happens when UBX is dosed every 8 weeks, just like a VEGF therapy. So there'll be a dose at week 0, at week 8, and then at week 16. And then the data will, and they'll collect data at week 16. They'll also collect data at week 24. So it'll be sort of an apples to apples comparison in terms of the frequency of the administration of the injections to the eye there. And of course, they're going against, I think it's Eylea Regenera or aflibercept. I can't pronounce these words, guys. It's UBX Unity Biotechnology Inc. Ticker symbol UBX. Guys, on the day, stock sitting at $2.91. Again, the trading has slowed way down. Definitely being controlled by the algo. Only 2,000 shares have traded hands in the last few minutes. You can see if you look at the volumes here, it's like going along nice and consistently in these nice even candles, and then gets very choppy. It's obviously 90. I think 90+% of the shares being traded are being traded by computers. There's not even a lot of humans looking at this stock, and I wouldn't be surprised if some short long hedge funds join the party here, guys. It's UBX. My name is DannyDealz. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas. If you know anything about this stock, if you have any ideas, please share it down in the comments. Stock not getting a lot of coverage. And clearly, I have nothing useful or of import to say. That is all. Have a good day.